Mr. A here, saying, how y'all doing?
Yo! Are you ready to rumble? Or should I say tumble? Cause I don't stumble or fumble like a Gregor Brian Gumbo. Standing on the ground, flat feet firm, killing worms and germs, and I'm doing it on my
Welcome
terms.
to the Rumble. We are back and better than ever, helping you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We don't want you sucker punched, so we're here each and every week helping you keep your guard up. I am Jeremy Lavelle with Remedy Claims Consulting at Claims Coach on Instagram and TikTok, and they just call me the Mouth of the South. And alongside of me is our very own catastrophe queen, the Claims Dame, Miss Jessica Odell, and the salubrious salitiferous and the satirically stylistic, the one, the only, Baby Cakes, Miss Donna Lavelle. How is everybody doing?
That's good. The temps are finally cooling down.
Oh, yes.
God.
Isn't it amazing?
Yes.
I've actually stopped sweating while I'm inside.
Right. Yes.
You
It's
know,
like, woo!
it is so much nicer now that it has come down a little bit. And I can only imagine how warm it gets for you, Jess, when you, I mean, I saw on Facebook, and I don't want to uncover anything here, but Jess has been soldiering it in the field out there in a travel trailer. Now it's a nice travel trailer, but she's been
Yeah, it's
living
brand
in
new.
a travel trailer for a little bit. I can only imagine how hot that thing gets and how hard it is to keep it cool. And you probably have, you know, a stable of generators running around out there trying to keep the power going.
So the cool thing about the one that we picked, thank God, it has 2 AC units. So there's one in the main living space and there's one over in the bunkhouse. So we just keep fans pushing around that AC. But even when it gets to be 110 outside, it's 85 to 88 in there. And forget cooking dinner. We don't even cook in the summertime. We just go out to eat.
That's what I would do too.
Oh my gosh.
We don't even bother cooking. Forget it.
I
It's
would
all
be
good though.
I would be innovating with ice packs and swamp coolers.
We've got the architect plans and the interior designer's almost done with figuring out our kitchen situation. So progress is a coming. The light is at the end of the tunnel.
Once you get the structure of that barn dominium up, things go quick, I hope, right?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it'll go pretty quick.
Good deal. Well, what's going on in the world, Baby Cakes?
Well, I have some facts. I've been scouring the internet for some interesting things. Did you know that some cats are allergic to people?
I hope they're all allergic to me.
I think they are.
Now that's
I
kind
would cry. I would
well,
cry if I had a cat and found out it was
Jess loves
allergic
her
to
critters. That's for sure.
me. I love my critters.
When they kill you in the middle of the night, it's not because they're evil. It's because they're allergic to you.
Because
Because they're surviving.
It's
They're
straight
tired of
up
their allergies.
self-preservation.
So, did you know that a group of bunnies is called a fluffle?
No, it's not. It's
Yep.
called a group of bunnies.
It's a fluffle.
A fluffle?
So
That's a fun word.
if 3 bunnies have a threesome, then it's called what is it? It's a thruffle fluffle
It's a thruffle fluff.
or fluffle thruffle.
Man, I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep
Thruffle.
trying to talk.
Fluffaluffagus.
Yeah. Okay, so did you know that the way you eat Oreos says something about your personality?
Really?
Do tell.
There are biters, twisters, and dunkers. What are you, a biter?
I'm a biter.
Dunker.
I'm a
You're
biter.
a biter?
Yeah.
I'm a twister.
I'm a twister.
I used to be a twister, and I found it did no good because then I just simply am just pull the top layer off her.
That's a twister.
Yeah, but I'm not all the cream
He says
filling
he's
seems to
evolved.
stay on one side.
It's supposed to. Can you get it perfect where none of it's on? Like,
Well, almost every time. Almost every time.
So if you are a biter, you're easygoing and self-confident. If you're a dunker, if you're a dunker, you display more energetic and adventurous qualities. If you're a twister, you're sensitive and trendy. So I'm sensitive and trendy.
If you're a biter, you're what?
If you're a biter, you're easygoing and self-confident.
Okay, that seems.
Do you know
That sounds
any dunkers?
plausible. Do I know any dunkers?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Do you know any dunkers, Jessica?
When I was a kid. That was about it.
Are they more energetic and adventurous?
Well, as a kid, yeah, for
They're
sure.
kids. Of course, they're entertaining
Yeah.
and adventurous. They're
Oh, yeah.
children. So yeah, that makes sense.
That's all I got.
Then you get to be an adult, and you're like, I ain't got time for this. I'll just bite it or twist it.
So
Now eating Oreos is going to give me a complex.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
now you know, and knowing is half the bullshit.
Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much, Baby Cakes. That is awesome. I wanted to hit the applause, but they all went to the bathroom. So I guess anyway.
They're just now coming back.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we have got a very interesting show because we're going to talk about how the robots affect us. We're going to be discussing AI today. I want to remind you that it is going to come to you in 3 separate rounds. When you hear this sound, you know that the round has begun. And when you hear this sound, you know that the round is over. I want to remind you that this is a discussion show. Jess and I are not actually debating. We are just down here dealing with all of the same stuff you are, because it's you that's really in the Rumble day to day trying to figure out how to play the carrier's game, how to beat the carrier at their own game, how to do the things that you need to do to get your clients paid. So we're going to get into it, and round 1 starts right after this. Public adjusters, listen up. It's Jeremy Lavelle, owner of Remedy Claims Consulting, host of the Rumble, and most importantly, your claims coach. Public adjuster training is one of the hardest things to find. Sure, you can take some online seminars, you can show up to conferences, but none of them tailor training just for you until now. Whether you need to learn how to estimate, scope, negotiate, or prospect, I can help you drill down on the skills you want to develop. Maybe you're just starting out and you need to learn the claims process from A to Z, or you're just wanting to help. Are you just wanting help on strategy on a specific claim? I can help you find the traction you were looking for and learn how to truly control the narrative in the ever-changing world of claims. You can reach out to me directly at 888-596-8772, or you can find me on the web at remedyclaims.com and just click Get Started. That's 888-596-8772 or remedyclaims.com and click Get Started. You can even shoot me an email at jeremy@remedyclaims.com. That's JEROMY at remedyclaims.com. It's time to move your career to the next level. And round 1 would be, sorry, I always do it. It's like I get so excited to get to it.
I'm not cutting this out.
I know you're not. Every time I think you're going to cut something out, you don't.
Nope.
Round 1, what is AI and where is it going? Well, I will tell you the first place that I think it showed up, that I see a lot of it show up, is like on ChatGPT. I think that's where it that's where it became people were widely aware of AI.
widely.
I think that's what a lot of people think of. There's a ton of different services that you can get out there that use it for, anything that you can possibly think of. But for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you know, but I just want to make sure somebody's not sitting in traffic going, what is AI? It's artificial intelligence, and it is becoming incredibly powerful and prevalent within not just public adjusting or insurance, but it's in, it's just in society. You're running into it everywhere.
Insemination. That's something different.
Yeah, that is artificial insemination. Yeah, it's very different. That is not what we're discussing.
Okay.
Speaking of sucker punches, it happened when I wasn't looking. No, the biggest place, and I think I'm just going to kind of deal with the big fat gorilla sitting in the middle of the room and talk about things like ChatGPT and friend of that. There's a lot of different services that you have out there. I know Jasper's one of them. There are good friends of mine that are heavily involved in it. I think Sarah Parker has a full teaching on artificial intelligence and artificial.
Yeah.
Artful. It's both artful and it is artificial intelligence and how we're using that. But I want to kind of talk about sort of, the power behind it. These are a lot of things that you can use it. I love it personally as a comprehensive research tool. I think it's fantastic as a research tool.
It's like,
are
I call
you
it
using
Google
it
on
as a
steroids.
research tool, Jess? Is that how you're using it?
So in my previous life, when I worked for the Department of Defense, I was an intelligence analyst, and one of the jobs that I had was called open source research and analysis. I used to have to scour the entire internet using Boolean logic. So, this word and that word in order to return exactly the type of content or whatever that it was I was looking for. Or if I wanted, every article that talked about a dog or a cat, I'd have to do dog and then capital O and then capital R cat, or certain things in quotations. Like there's this whole thing called Boolean logic. So, but where ChatGPT, I just stinking love it, is it uses natural language processing. So instead of having to use Boolean logic, which is kind of, if you want to think about it, kind of like an equation, right? So that when it's scouring the internet, it can return back to you, the most, like an accurate, useful result. Well, with ChatGPT, instead of you having to use, key terms, key phrases, parentheses or quotations or a colon or whatever, you don't have to do that. You can use natural language and it understands you. That is what makes, it makes it become superhuman to a degree, because it can not only go through and scour the internet in seconds, and I believe right now ChatGPT, I know 3.5 is only as recent as 2021. So if anything has come out between 2022 and 2023, it can't pull that, but pretty much everything else on the internet before 2021, it can pull. It returns to you in a way that is natural language, like it's having a conversation with you, but it's vetted. It pulls it from sources. But you give it a prompt too. Like there's a way to use it using natural language when you ask ask a question. So, you give it a role to play, like you're a public insurance adjuster. Then you say you have to write a rebuttal on why overhead and profit is owed on a claim. So you give it a lens or a role, you give it, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, whatever. And man, the stuff that it returns to you is amazing. So yeah, the sky is the limit when it comes to doing, online research.
I have used, again, that is pretty much how I use it. I use it as a research tool. I have found just sort of playing around with it, and it depends on the service that you're using. Like if you try to pick like a socially polarizing topic or whatever, it does have bias leanings to it. Now, I would say by and large it's unbiased. You know what I mean? It has some, right. But it's based off of the information that it's grabbing, and so you have to understand. I am not going to pick a topic in any kind of way, but conservatives are more likely to make a video. They're not more likely to write a blog. They're, it's where because remember, it is secluded to the internet, which I feel like is a lot of information, but, you're not, most of the time conservatives are not they're less activists, and they're a little bit quieter about the way that they go about things. Whereas you get into more of the liberal response, they tend to be a little bit more socially active and a little bit more vocal about how they think about it. So you get the information that you get back from it sometimes can be a little bit on the bias side. That's the one warning I would give you. If you're dealing with it, and it also kind of depends on who's feeding it the information, right? Because AI is taught. Basically, you have to understand that it is given a certain amount of information, and it uses that information that it gives as far as the parameters go. And I am no authority on how that thing works. But I have found when I seclude it to like the insurance world, one of the things it does for me that I love is I'll take an email that I've written and I'll copy and paste it into ChatGPT, and it's like, clean this up.
Yep.
Clean this up. Make this more organized, make this a little bit easier to read. What I can't stand is when somebody copy and paste a research prompt and copy and paste it as an argument. And I see a lot of that going on. You know what I mean? And they plagiarize they plagiarize it, and I'm telling you, it is becoming easier and easier to tell that it's being plagiarized. And so because it's got a tone to it, I'm going to tell you that it's got a detectable tone. Have you found that it's got somewhat of a detectable tone, the AI language, especially ChatGPT?
It does. It also depends on the prompt that you give it. Sometimes I found like, okay, man, this is still way too wordy. It's almost too human. Like, be a little more robotic and let's cut this down to meat and potatoes. So there have been times where,
yeah,
what's that?
It's like they're trying to hit that word limit in their class or something.
I don't know, but there have been times where, we've used it or I've used it, and the response that came back is just it's too wordy. But the whole premise of what it is, it's machine learning, right? It's the machine, the whatever the brain of this thing is learning through recognition of patterns. Where it's going, I know that. We're just talking about ChatGPT right now, and some of the. I'm hoping we get into some of these other ones, but
I don't want to.
Is it's not just marketing. Like, marketing is the big thing right now, but in insurance, where AI is going is they want to use AI and harness its ability to do pattern detection and pulling of vast amounts of data to do risk analysis, predictive risk analysis. They want to use it to detect fraud. So they're teaching the machine, if you will, or this artificial intelligence to do that already, and that's where it's going with claims and with insurance is, and then through use of chatbots and through use of virtual inspections and through use of technology. Automated image analysis is one. That's where you can I'm sure you guys have heard of Roof Hawk AI, but
oh yeah,
that thing's amazing. At first I thought you had to have a special drone, or you have to have this, or you have to have that. No, it's any drone with 12 megapixels or more. You take a photo 10 to 12 feet away of a slope up, at each slope, then you go to your app, upload all the photos, and it can scan a whole slope in less than a minute and identify all of the areas that are in question in a speculation.
Right. Now, I want to point out that Roof Hawk AI, last I spoke with the boys at Roof Hawk, okay? And one of the and it's been a little bit. I wouldn't go as far to call the conversation recent. You know what I mean?
RoofCon.
Huh?
Was it RoofCon was it RoofCon?
I don't remember exactly the last. Well, no, it was IRE. IRE is the last time I spoke to him, but that was here in Dallas. That was back in the winter or the early spring. Either way, so Roof Hawk is an incredible tool, but they're still even billing that as a sales tool. Is what they're doing. It is still not, because it's gonna have to get in. It's going to have to get north of 95% accurate before it can be used as a documentation tool. Now, one of the things go ahead.
I think it's at 90. I think it's at 93% or something. It's so close. I remember I saw a scientific or technical publication about, and it's not Roof Hawk. I just meant the technology in general. You're right. I think it was only at 93 something %.
Well, and we're seeing
which is
more.
Still pretty fascinating.
It really is. I think the combination of AI and like thermal imagery and things like, because you're already seeing thermal imagery drones, and I actually talked with the guys at Roof Hawk about incorporating thermal imagery in order to detect hail damage, and the difference between what a blister would be, being able to help it get more information, that kind of thing. And they literally told me, and you'll appreciate this, our resident Department of Defense expert here, it's like, the thermal imagery exists, but the public is not allowed to have it. So they've got the ability to do those kinds of things. Because I did a little bit of stuff with thermal imagery, helping me detect hail damage, and I actually took some photos of what hail damage looks like and the temperature difference where granules are and where granules aren't. And it lights up like a Christmas tree. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and turn that in as proof, because it is certainly not accepted by the carrier at this point in time. And if you don't have an infrared certification, you don't need to be turning it in as documentation anyway. I would go back to even our previous episode and some of the places where we talk about thermal imaging. I use it to help me locate, and that's basically it. I don't turn it in as fact. I just help it. Right. It helps me do my job, and that's what I would say RoofHawk is really good for. You can, especially when you got a steep and tall roof, maybe you can send a drone up, run it through RoofHawk, and go, okay, when you get up there and you have to tie a rope off to your ass, this would be the point where I'd want to tie it off, because this is where damage looks most prevalent, so that you're not hanging on for dear life, looking in an area that's not going to be that damaged. And so I think it is incredibly handy there. And again, before it becomes irrefutable documentation, it is going to be a great discovery tool. And I think that is probably where I would be looking at it. I'm looking forward to AI being able to recognize different things, like maybe you run into a fire, you can send a bot, some kind of robot. And what I mean, is, they've got technology now where you can send like these little little rovers into areas that may not be safe. You know what I mean? Whether it's you've got severe water loss, and it can take these images and see these things and detect all of these, because these cameras can detect things that your eyeballs cannot. You know what I mean? And it will learn different patterns and whether or not how it grows, those kinds of things. There's a lot of different things that AI is doing. Now, one of the places where I think it is safe for you to go ahead and use it and go ahead and employ it, and we'll get into this more in round 2, is marketing. I think marketing, especially for you guys that are solo people, you know what I'm saying? It can be very handy when it comes to your marketing efforts, if marketing is something that you do. I don't do a whole lot of marketing for fear that it would work. And I asked Jessica a few episodes ago, it's like, when's the last time you had no claims to work? None whatsoever. You know what I mean? And so
I was broke as hell.
So I mean, other than ChatGPT, so DALL-E, DALL-E, is a fantastic AI tool that can help, like what you were saying, solo people generate images that they can use for their social media, for their marketing. You can send it off to Vistaprint to have it printed, or whatever the case may be. But allegedly, I haven't really played around with DALL-E too much, but it advertises that no two images generated by DALL-E are alike. So whatever you get from it is yours, if you will. Right. You can use Tome, Tome. That is a fantastic AI generated generates PowerPoint presentations for you. Cool. Yes, sir. I've played around with that one a few times. It still leaves some things desired. I mean, there are very basic PowerPoint slides, but you can always, at least gets you a 50 or 60% solution in a matter of 30 seconds to a minute. And then you can go back in and you can add on. And then the last one, like you were saying, is Jasper. Man, that one, I haven't subscribed to it. But that's the one where it can help you with your social media content. It can help you with the social media, like how often it goes out, through which avenues. Is it through email? Is it through Facebook? Is it through Instagram? But before you even get to use it, it asks you to spend time with it, to teach it your voice, your way of talking, if you will, how the words you like to use as you're communicating to your audience. And then there's another one that I completely forgot the name of, but it will actually generate training videos, and you can give it the option of doing your training video. So you upload the script, and it either assigns it a computer generated human being to speak your script and train, or you can upload yourself. That's the part that I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting creepy.
Well, I think we kind of leached into round 2 a little bit there, but my final thoughts on it, it's like, guys, it's not going anywhere. No. So learning how to incorporate it into your business is going to be really important, because you'll get left behind. And I'm not just talking about from an information standpoint. I'm talking about it's the way business is going. But we're
Yes.
going to get into different ways to use it in round 2, because it starts right after this.
One of the most difficult claims you can work is a contents claim. It requires extreme detail and significant documentation. Ricky McGregor with Monarch Claim Services is the expert you need on your side. She will handle on-site evaluation, inventory, photo documentation, pricing, and overall contents claim organization. She will work with your team beginning to end so you can focus on the rest of the claim. Do your client a favor and call Ricky McGregor with Monarch Claim Services. You can reach her at 515-783-1434. That's 515-783-1434, or find her on the web at monarchclaimservices.com.
Round 2, feast. Way to use it. Okay, so we were talking about all of the different services that you can get into, whether it's RoofHawk AI. I fully anticipate carriers moving into the use of AI to have a more consistent response, especially in the climate that we're in right now. I am really interested to figure out how we're going to argue with it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it is going to bring some much needed continuity to claims handling, I think. What do you think about that?
That's a really good question. I still think it's going to be, Big Red has their version of AI, Big Blue has their version of AI, and their guidelines are still a part of that. I still think there's going to be that. It's going to be hard to get away from that. What I do think is that what I could see happening is more claims responses will reach insureds through the use of chatbots. An insured logs in.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think the
insured,
filing of claims, FNOLs are going to be done through it. I bet you. I think you're right. For sure.
I really think that they're finally going to get around I haven't spoken to my adjuster in 4 weeks, keeps getting reassigned 5 times. The chatbot, I think, is that first line of defense, which will, and a lot of those questions can be answered by AI. They really can. They're basic claim handling questions. The insureds are lost and don't know what to do next. So having those chatbots, tuned in to the most often asked questions and those pretty standardized responses, I think that those are going to happen rapidly, which would then free up those desk adjusters and other members of the teams doing the claims handling to get kind of more into the discrepancy phase. Okay, what's really going on with the rest of this claim? We got through the initial push, now let's get through the rest of it. So I do think the first part of claims handling is going to be streamlined and maybe faster and better customer service to the insured, but there's still going to be guidelines.
One of the things that I want to see, and I know this is already available, okay, it's a matter of how do I integrate it and then educate my client on it. That is probably the bigger thing. And I guess before I educate my client on it, I would have to be further educated on it, is creating an AI tool for remedy claims. Do you know what I'm saying? And where you can get, general claim updates. You know what I'm saying? Now, I would have to be good about actually updating my system, which I'm terrible about, but
they're not getting any updates.
If they, but the idea is that if I can quit answering those phone calls, and they can, and when they call in and ask, and I know that there are solutions out there, portals, and everybody's going to give me all of these. It's like, yes, I get it. That's all. Yeah, I know it all exists. I get it. I understand that all of that already exists. I'm not arguing that it's there and we have it, and they can go in and they can log in and they can kind of see where their claim is. But a lot of times they can log in and look at it, but they still want to talk to somebody. Yes, they want to get the feel of what's going on. They want to, it's like, what sort of, what did it's like spoke with desk adjuster. My note is going to read something like spoke with desk adjuster. They're going to be sending it up to management for approval, blah, 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 blah. But that is a very generic, very benign sort of note.
Yes.
That doesn't mean a whole lot to. So how did they sound? What did they, what sort of information?
Right.
And one of the things that I want to do is be able to quit answering the phone unless you schedule a time to speak with me, and I can schedule those 15-minute phone calls, and I don't have to go, okay, got you down. But my AI tool basically schedules that call, sends out the Zoom link, and reminds me no matter where I am, my phone rings or whatever the case may be. And AI has the ability to do that. That's right. One of the places where I really want to use it. So it streamlines sort of the communication gap that exists between a public adjuster working 14, 15, 16, 17 claims. And if you have more than that, you're working too many claims. That's what I would tell you, because you're probably not giving claims as much attention as they need. But if you're working between, 20 claims or so, if you're working that many claims, the ability to even just verbally tell your chat bot, hey, I spoke with verbally tell your AI, hey, I spoke with this desk adjuster. I'm pretty encouraged about the response that I got. This is such and such and such and such. And it's more of a verbal thing rather than sit down behind my computer and type it in. You know what I'm saying? And I can have a conversation with my AI tool that basically says, this is kind of what I think. This is my outlook on everything. I do think it's going to be a little bit long, whatever the update is. You know what I'm saying? Without having to field a bunch of questions afterwards.
And I know there's a lot of the CRMs that PAs are using out there are now integrating an AI chatbot feature. I have not yet tried them. I know, I think Job Nimbus might have come out with an AI chatbot. HubSpot is another one that does have it. I'm still not 100% sure if MyCase does. I haven't used MyCase in a while, which used to be my favorite CRM for PAing. I don't know if you've seen a little button for it somewhere on Claim Wizard as an add-on. But they're all coming. They're all coming.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, well, yeah, they're all coming because it'll differentiate the one that doesn't. You know what I mean? What's your differentiator? Right. Well, my differentiator is I don't have the technology every other platform does. I know that. Right. You're going to see it. The biggest issue, like I think the reason some of the things that are slower a bit on the PA side, and guys, just brace yourself. There's less than 10,000 PAs in the entire nation. Okay. And so when you have less than 10,000 of anything, that's a very small, thin market. So you're not going to be, and then we're divided among however many CRM platforms or file management platforms that are out there. You're not going to see a huge increase in technology. And so it's going to be slower for us as when we're trying to get caught up to something like HubSpot. HubSpot is going to be on the cutting edge of everything that goes on. You're also going to pay for those things. So expect an increase in price on how they go about it. That's one of the things that I wanted to do is take my phone calls, or take those text messages, be able to handle those things and get those interactions. And then if nothing else, schedule a time for me to call them back. Even if you're not telling them, it's like, hey, you need to call these people back in the next 24 hours. I've put it on your calendar for tomorrow at 2 p.m. to reach out to XYZ client, and so it's on my calendar and it helps me time block and make sure that I'm getting around to things because as much as I hate living in a world where I'm stomping out fires all the time, I get pulled into that because when you start dealing with the urgency that comes from other people and they're wanting answers and you get a bad answer from a carrier or something like that, or something that just really kind of moves an entire claim sideways, sometimes it can take up a whole lot of attention and a whole lot of time. When you're expecting, $100,000 payment from a carrier and it comes back at 40 and you are frantically digging through the documentation and why they're saying that why they're not covering something, you're going back, you're looking at policy, and then you realize that you're dealing with somebody that is, 100% operating off of guidelines, and they just like they've completely missed endorsements. There's a ton of different things that we all run into as public adjusters, but finding those things that help you manage your time, that is what I like as far as AI. Where to use it is in time management, and there's a really good tool out there that I like a lot called Motion absolutely helps you. I mean, it's like time blocking on steroids, Jess. I saw it in my marketing feeds for a long time. And one of the biggest reasons that I saw it is because I suffer from chronic procrastination. And I live in a world, if not for the last minute, I wouldn't get anything done kind of thing. So I got very tired. And I mean, it weighs on and just a little bit of transparency here. People who suffer from chronic procrastination have a lot of mental health exhaustion, a lot of stress. It affects sort of their entire mood of the day. And that was one of the things that I was really trying to address in my own existence, was making sure I understood this. Well, Motion will detect when it is you actually like to work. And then when you're absolutely working, it then schedules these tasks, and you kind of tell it, how long does it take? So just beginning to end on a conventional claim, let's, for example, say, how long does it take you to work a claim from, and by that, once you're documenting, I'm not talking about field work. I'm talking about when you sit down behind the computer, how long does it take you to get all your research done, put your report together, and submit to the carrier from the time that you sit down out of the field? How much time does it take you?
That's a good question.
And I know the answer is it depends, but I'm just asking.
Sure, yeah. No, I'm trying to give you a ballpark. So, yep, the field part's done. Of the field report's done too, or no? That's
no. Basically, you've got pictures. You got to label the photos. You
okay, so you came out of the field.
Yeah, you come out of the field.
From that all the way through desk adjusting too, and writing rebuttals and final demands and everything. I say maybe 40 hours in total.
40 hours in total. Okay, so fair enough. So it's going to take me, and I'm going to drill this down. I'm going to get a little bit more granular. The report that I submit to the carrier, generally by the time I'm done with all of my research, I've written all of my narratives, I've completed my field report, I've labeled my photos, I've estimated my claim, because I write all my own estimates. I do all of that.
You're talking about like a whole proof of loss package.
A whole proof of loss package. I guess that's better the question. How long does it take you to do a proof of loss package?
4 to 8 hours, depending.
4 to 8 hours. That's exactly, that's what mine is. And depending on the claim, I'm going to take a look at it and go, okay, this sketch is going to take me a while. I just look at kind of what I have to do. I've got 300 photos. I label about 100 photos an hour, somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on my copy and paste ability of it all. You know, we're looking at about 100 photos an hour.
Yep.
You know, that's just my thing. And then it's, I write, depending on the estimate, it's going to take me anywhere from, if it's just a roof, that takes me about 15 minutes. I spend more time in the administrative portion of this is the claim number, this is the overhead and profit, you know what I mean? But it takes me, 10 minutes to write a roof estimate. I mean, it takes me no time at all. I mean, I literally could do that in my sleep. So, but by the time I'm done with it, it's going to take anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. I'm going to look at the claim and I'm going to go, okay, this claim is going to take me 6 hours. Now, being a procrastinator, I get distracted easily too. So I will move off and move back. And so what it does is it breaks those things up into measurable time slots. And so you're going to spend an hour on this claim, and then you're going to move off of this claim and move to this claim. And you're going to move off of this claim. And so it breaks it up into these measurable time slots, and Motion will do that for you. And if you're like me, I go through phases where I work from 8 to midnight. That's when I sit down and want to work. And it allows you to set your working time based on the week that's coming up. So if you know that you've got a ton of meetings and you're out, so you can go and block off your schedule. If that's something that you're good at, it integrates with your My Outlook calendar or your Gmail. So it only works with Outlook or Gmail right now. So.
Okay. Because you've got me like, what? I need to look into this. Okay, so I see usemotion.com, ai.motion.com, or motion.ai. Which one?
I believe, hang on.
Usemotion.com says it manages calendars, meetings, projects, and tasks in one. Increases productivity by 137%, huh?
Yeah. I mean, and so this is one of the places.
Interesting.
That's a very personal place where you can introduce AI into your world, because it shores up some of the things. Like for me, again, I am very distracted by shiny things, and
Squirrel.
it allows, where?
Squirrel. Please tell me somebody still watches Disney once in a while.
Those are tools that are out there. And I think when you begin to implement these things that sort of shore up your weaknesses, that would be the first place that I would find AI to help you when you don't necessarily, because the first thing I would tell you, if you're trying to hire people to do stuff you don't like to do. That's the first place that you hire somebody. The next thing you can do is, if you can't hire somebody, you can pay $30 a month, and it will help you block off these tasks, especially that you don't want to make time for. If you suffer from procrastination, realize that 35% of America does too. You're not alone.
Here's another one that I would say: run out. Now, I don't know the security situations behind some of this, okay, so I have not done that deep dive, but we as an industry need professional headshots. Professional freaking headshots. And it needs to go on our CVs. We need to be updating those too. We have some awesome, and I'm not knocking on females, I'm not, because I am one, but we have some amazing, super sharp females out there. And when you've got, you're in the vehicle and you've got cleavage hanging out, you're kind of seen a certain way, maybe not taken as seriously as you should be when you're such a capable individual. But not all of us can just run out and go find a photographer and pay all these fees, whatever. Man, there are so many different AI platforms out there. I spent $40 or $39.99, uploaded, 20 selfies over the last year, whatever the case, whatever it was. And 2 hours later, it generated an abundance of different renderings. Because again, that's what AI is. It's machine learning, finding patterns and creating new renderings is this particular model that it uses. But I was shocked. It was eerie how accurate. I would say at least a fourth. Yeah, I would say about a fourth. A fourth of them were just so spot on. And they came out fantastic. And I didn't even leave my couch. Like, now there's no excuse for us as an industry not to present ourselves as the professionals we really are.
AI thinks I'm a man. Every time I try to use the AI stuff I see on Facebook and stuff, it thinks I'm a guy.
Yeah, because that stuff is kind of jokey and kitschy. You know what I mean? And they generally will ask you if you're a man or a female.
No, it doesn't. It just gives me a beard.
Well, I know on the kitschy stuff it does.
Even if it asks you, though, dude, I'm telling you, there. Our buddy Chris Corville out there, bless his heart. Oh my God, it was hilarious. He had me rolling.
Oh, I saw his.
He had me rolling. Oh, it was great. It was epic. It was hysterical.
With long hair.
Yeah,
shout out to my good buddy Chris Corville.
Shout out to our buddy Chris Corville, man. That was hysterical. And I know it's happened to a few other people too. I can't remember who it was. There was also a female where it says it literally thinks I'm a man, and it kept generating her as a man. I don't remember who it was, but yeah. So I mean, look, it's no glitches. It's learning, right? Machine learning, but it is still pretty eerie when it comes
absolutely. And I think that is going to segue well into round 3, because it starts right after this. When choosing someone to help with your online marketing, make sure you go with someone that has years of experience. Our good friend Sally at Thrive has over 20 years of digital marketing experience. She can build you a beautiful 15-page, sleek, interactive website, post on your social media platforms multiple times a week. She can do a video, an amazing CRM to manage and maintain and nurture your clients' text, email marketing, review generation, a business listing on 60+ search engines, including 3 voice networks, appointment scheduling, estimates, invoices, payment processing, and more. She will also create for you on Google, a Facebook page, in Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. If you need these for your businesses, she'll help you create those pages on all of those sites. If you already have these pages, she'll optimize them for you as well. Call or message Sally today. If you want to get started, you can reach her at 214-789-1651. Again, her name is Sally Brigance. Her number is 214-789-1651. And you'll also get a landing page the day you sign up. When you send her a referral that signs up with her, she'll credit your billing account Logos are also available, and she also offers a lead generation service and SEO, search engine optimization, where she can guarantee you to appear on the first page of Google or your money back. It is spelled THRYB, and you can find my good friend Sally Brigance, and that's spelled SALLIE, Brigance, BRIGANCE, and she can be reached once again at 214-789-1651. Round 3. Don't go there with that one. Places not to use AI. So clearly Donna should not be using AI for headshots.
No.
So it's not gonna end well. I think y'all are being goofy. So I think the idea here is that AI needs to I said it before, it's a tool, guys. It's a tool that you can use that makes your life so much easier, but it's not going to do your damn job for you. And if you think that that's what you're hoping, if that's what you're hoping for, and so if you're plagiarizing your Chat GPT, I don't have any problem with you writing a narrative in Microsoft Word and copy and pasting it and going, hey, clean this up, because that's you. And it's like, I would rather you sound professional through Chat GPT than sound and not know the difference between then and then and there and there. I would rather Chat GPT clean that up for you than you look like, never mind. Then you come off, because look, when I get an email or I read a post from somebody and they don't know the difference between then and then, or there and there, or two and two, and they don't know all of their homonyms and how to appropriately use them, and I'm reading that, if I get that from somebody, they already come down a notch in my brain. You know what I mean? I'm already going, okay.
It's
these are simple.
It's natural.
These are simple things. These are rudimentary things that we have to be on top of. And if we're not on top of these rudimentary things, then why would I trust anything that you have to say about something that really matters and whether or not something is or isn't damaged? And that's really not fair. I first of all want to say that that's really not fair. Just because you're not well written doesn't mean that you don't know how to identify damage. And it doesn't mean that you don't know how to identify, but I'm telling you, perception and optics matter. Perception and optics matter. And if you're letting it do your work for you, and you're just basically plagiarizing what it tells you, if you want an O&P argument and you want to type it into as a prompt on what I would do is I would go through, I would look at it, then I would verify everything that it found. That's the other thing that I would do. Yeah. And I often will look into, I will use it basically to kind of narrow my internet search down, because one of the things that I do is I look for unbiased third-party source material. And what I mean by that is not just somebody, I'm talking somebody non-industry related. Let me give you an example. I had a fire truck park on a driveway and broke the driveway. That's a very common thing. Well, this carrier didn't want to pay for it, and they said that they were going to send out an engineer. And of course, the engineer came out and said it was due to ground shifting, right? But one of the things I did when I turned that in is I not only searched density of concrete, I searched density of concrete. This was without the assistance of AI. I searched the density of concrete. I searched the dry weight and the equipped weight of fire trucks. I found I looked for the different I looked at the picture of the fire truck that I had parked on the driveway. Even though this claim was denied, I had a picture of the fire truck parked on the driveway right where it was cracked, right? And I went and pulled all of the specs for that fire truck. I called my buddy who's a captain at the Irving Fire Department and said, what kind of fire truck is this? And, he told me what it was. I pulled all of the specs, all of the weight, everything that I needed to know about that thing, and I turned that in as documentation. Now, that claim still got denied.
How long did that take you?
How long did that take me? Probably 3 hours.
Yeah. How long did all of that research without AI take you?
Probably 3 hours. You know what I mean? As opposed to plugging it into an AI and knowing that those were the things that I was looking for. It took me, knowing that the different kinds of,
you can do,
and that's where AI would have really shortened it. Go ahead.
Well, and then now they've got, where Google and some of these other platforms, you can activate the AI, the photo option. So you don't,
Yeah.
maybe you don't know
Yep.
what something is. You just take a picture of it. It, again, through AI and learning of patterns, pattern recognition from the image, will pull up whatever the heck it is. And again, it's like, it is shocking how accurate it is.
It really is. I mean, I've won. Where is
So,
this photo
So you could have
contest?
figured
Like,
out that truck and pulled specs in 30 seconds.
right, exactly. And I would have had it, and I would have downloaded it and attached the PDF to my proof of loss packet, and I would have been done. Do you know what I'm saying? Like and it doesn't really matter what, I just summarize it. And so sometimes I will copy and paste an entire document and ask Chat GPT to summarize it. I read the summary, I pull it, put it in my own words, and then I put that in my report. Those are places, see, that's using it as a tool. There is no sense in driving a nail with a screwdriver here. You can actually pull out a hammer, and Chat GPT is sometimes the hammer that you need. And I say Chat GPT like I use the word Kleenex. Whatever sort of tool that you want to use, I am not advocating for Chat GPT in one way or the other. It is not the only option out there. But you can move it into some of those things that will help you tailor make this proof of loss packet, which is a huge part of what I believe in, and how we explain what our report is. You know what I mean? And how you summarize and explain your report. And so those are things that I do when I'm going to look for this third-party source data, that it is really, really good for that. And if you're using it in that realm, it's good. But what you should not do is just let it do all of your research for you, and you don't confirm it, and you just put it out there as fact. Because if that claim goes not even to but if it goes to litigation and you find yourself in a deposition and you're submitting material that you don't know where it came from, that is documentation fit for the trash can. Because you have got to be able to support it, defend it, and know where it comes from. And because I think third-party source data is really, really important. But if you're not doing the research and you're submitting it to an insurance carrier for reason to make a payment, I did a Google search or a Chat GPT search is not a good enough reason. It's really not. You've got to go the extra mile and understand what you're putting out there as fact.
I wouldn't say one of what I'm about to say is a way not to use it, but here's where I kind of fear its use being used against the insured. When an insured, let's say they use a chat bot, or they use, like, somebody comes up with the TurboTax of claim handling, if you will. So an insured logs in, insured starts to talk about their claim. If they start interacting with a chat bot and they use the word, oh, water, the dishwasher, whatever, and it flooded my house. Oh, flood.
The word flood.
Flood's not covered in your policy.
Right.
Or, oh man, this mold, mold's not covered, and it skips over that ability to say, but that's a secondary effect of the actual cause of loss. So
the power in my house went out and all my food rotted. Rot's not covered.
Yeah, exactly. You just use the wrong one word incorrect, and it just, so that's one of the concerns I have with where insurance companies may start to use, AI to interact with the insureds. It removes that. I don't know that AI can pick up on that. Okay, they said flood, but do they really mean flood? Whereas us, we would normally say that. Hey, you said flood, but did you really mean flood? I'm pretty sure it's just a regular water loss. That kind of stuff. I mean, and then the other thing is, who owns,
like my kitchen flooded. That's just the conventional way to explain what happened.
Exactly. So, and then, the other concern I have, and I don't know the answer to this, I haven't done the deep dive. I'm definitely not an AI expert. But who owns all of the inputs? Who owns all of the chat interactions? Where does all that information get stored? And can that also be used against an insured who may have said, a term that was used innocently and unwittingly could be used against them down the road? so maybe a claim didn't get filed, but because they interacted with AI and it's now stored somewhere. So those are some of the other concerns I have. I wouldn't
hadn't
say
even
what
thought
not
about
to.
that. God, Jess,
Because
that's incredible. You're absolutely right.
I mean,
You're
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Their biggest interest, the insurance company's biggest interest, is fraud detection, and using predictive, risk analysis, predictive, they're trying to predict things. Well, the only way you can predict things is if you have a database from which a benchmark, a foundation, something it can be compared. That's where the patterns come into place. So as folks out there are interacting with AI, it's building the database from which to pull and identify patterns for predictive analysis. So that
absolutely,
it's kind of,
man.
I love AI. I love AI, but there's still some creepy questions out there about it.
Right, and I don't think it is anywhere near taking over the human role. Now,
No,
the military may be using it in some places like that, but I don't think it is anywhere near for public consumption to take over the human role. Now, I think it may chew up some lower cost jobs. Do you know what I mean? Like Donna, didn't you just see like something on Instagram or Facebook or something on one of the worldwide internets? Like a fully automated McDonald's.
Yeah.
Didn't you see? I mean, it's like, what, because
North Texas.
We've got a fully automated. I mean, so it's chewing up some of those jobs. Automation and artificial intelligence is already chewing up some of those I hate to say,
let's see if we
lower level is a bad word. That's
see if
the word.
They get the order right, and then we'll know whether it's worth it to even.
My question is in the chances of it being more accurate there?
Yeah, I would think so.
Or is McDonald's customized, or is it only automated where you have no customizations?
I don't know, but does the ice cream machine work? That's what I want.
It will never work. It will never ever work. But just let it go, Donna. Jeez. No, you're seeing I think it's chewing up some of those entry level jobs where our teenagers go learn the value of working in the workforce. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think that's probably the better way to put it. It's where it's taking some of the younger workforce. I am too. I really am too. And so when you even because by the time they get into their 20-somethings and you've got real people needing real service or real answers to real questions and stuff like that, they stare at you like a calf staring at a new gate. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I don't know. And I could tell a story. I mean, I've got a million of these stories where it's like, you need to go to the military. That's where you need to go. So that you can learn how to follow a process and problem solve with some, you need to learn the critical thinking skills. That's the one thing the military taught me, is critical thinking skills above and beyond any of the math classes that I had, or how to figure out how to actually sit in class without taking notes. I mean, the military taught me how to solve problems, and that is something that I learned. And that is one of the things that I see. If they don't have some of these opportunities to work at 16, 17, and 18 years old, because these jobs are being taken, they're not learning these critical thinking skills that are required to actually help people when they need the help. And that is what I am finding. And this is not an indictment against AI in any kind of way, or automation for that matter. That is the thing that I fear, is that they're not going to be able to solve some of these, nuanced problems, because your problem may be really, really specific. And if AI has never heard of your problem, guess what? It doesn't have an answer for your problem. It just isn't.
Well, what's kind of cool though is it'll tell you that too. It'll say, "I'm sorry, prior to 2021, this would be my answer. Anything more recent than that, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for." It's like, so right. Don't rely on it.
Yeah, right.
everything.
And so we're not there yet. I mean, so there you've got to weigh it in the in the waning seconds of this episode. I mean, it is amazing that it is out there now for public consumption, but it is so far from reliable fact it's not even funny. So that is my final warning on the use of AI, whether it's in claims handling or customer service or whatever it is that you're using it in. Understand that it is not a replacement for you doing your job, and you are still going to have to do your job and deal with people on a one-on-one basis. Still, that is the most critical thing that I can think of. Any final thoughts there, Jess?
No, I think you nailed it.
Oh, and it felt good too. Felt real good.
Yeah.
Felt real good. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed this, or if you want to know, maybe you want us to have a guest on that can explain a little bit more about AI, please drop that down into the comments. If you could also click like and subscribe so that you're notified when a new episode of the Rumble comes out. And as always, if you know somebody that was looking for this information, please take some time to share it across your social media platforms or email it to a friend. And we will be back next week. But in the meantime, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And we will see you on the next one.
Got my hand on the hammer, ready to ram you like the fire slammer jammer. Yes, we're coming up, don't even try to diminish it. I won't start it, but I damn sure will finish it.